Hey YouTube, what's happening? On this video I really wanted, cause I realized that nobody is really talking about this, right? And they seem to like to swim around the real problem of this matter of why it happens. And I'm talking about school violence. School shootings, right? The mass murder type of thing, right? Let's go with school shootings. All right. First and foremost, let me tell you something. School shootings should not happen, right? I am not going to condone school shootings in any way, shape, or form. You understand? So that's where I stand, period. However, no amount of gun reform is going to change school shootings because you're not tackling the real issues behind school shootings. Why school shootings happens, right? You want to know one of the main reasons why school shootings happens? Because of bullying and ill treatments of certain students. You understand? And poor parents, poor parenting. That's why school shootings happens. School shootings happens mainly because of those things. Let's tackle bullying, right? I was once the victim of bullying in high school. No matter how much I even fought back sometimes, I still got picked on regardless, right? And it was so bad one day, right? Whereas I stepped out of a classroom and I was immediately kicked in the stomach and kicked in the butt. I was like ganged upon by some guys, and that was the only way they could gang upon me, right? Because they knew I was going to fight back, right? Anyway, after the guys beat me up and they were laughing at me, right? People were laughing, not just like the guys who beat me up laughed, but my own classmates laughed. None of them lifted a hand to help me. If my best friend was there, he would have helped because he was in the same class, but I believe he was sick that day. And we're usually in fights together against people. And that's a video I'm gonna go over, like, you know, what was my school days like, right? Anyway, let me put down the phone and just drive a little bit more properly. But listen. Bullying is, I can guarantee that bullying is 75% of the reason why most school shootings happens. Right? Because I'm gonna be honest with you and I'm gonna tell you the truth. I almost did a school shooting back home in Jamaica, and it was because of that same reason why when I was ganged up on by those assholes and kicked in the stomach and kicked in the butt, right, by people who I really didn't want to have anything to do with, right? Those little ghetto mongrels. These people send their kids, their bastardized kids to school, right, to harass and trouble decent kids who really don't want to just like have anything to do with them but just want to live and let live. You understand what I'm saying? Right? Because they came from a freaking broken home where their father probably not freaking home with their freaking angry single mother, and they come and they harass and bully other kids from decent homes where their parents teach them to form a line, to treat others properly, to make friends and things like that. Let's really dive into that matter of why we have school shootings. I can guarantee you that most of these school shootings happen because of bullying and kids that bully them, and then the kids that turn around and laugh at them for getting bullied. You understand what I'm saying? The embarrassment, the shame, and the anger and the pain that comes from being bullied and laughed at and not helped and not being able to be helped, and going to the people who should be helping you and they don't help you. And when I'm talking about the authoritative figures, the teachers can't help you, the principal can't help you, the dean of discipline can't help you. So what the frick are these people doing in schools then? That's why I'm gonna freaking homeschool my child, because I don't want her shooting up a goddamn school. And I don't want her to get shot because of somebody who got bullied and comes back and shoot up the school and shoot her up as a statistic. You want to talk about school shootings? Black kids go through this regularly in the ghetto. They go through it regularly, as my wife tells me. She used to go to school gets shoot up, half an hour later, class has to continue. Alright? Now, I'm not saying that this is a white or black thing or whatever it is, but I'm saying that we need to address what the real problem of school shooting is. And it isn't gun reform. Gun reform is not going to change school shootings. It's not going to change school shootings. That is a stupid thing to say. Gun reform is not going to change school shootings. Right? It's not going to stop kids from getting guns, because if kids want to get guns, they're gonna find some guy on the corner and buy a gun from him. When people just want to do harm and they're intent on doing harm, they will go through the ringer to get that device to cause harm. I don't want to hear that gun reform is the answer. It isn't the answer. The answer is to stop building up shitty ass kids and stop sending them to school to bully and harass other decent children. That is the problem, for male and friggin' female. Right? Growing up, before I went to an all-boys high school, I went to a co-ed primary school. For those of you who don't know, that's like middle-age school, grades 1 through to 6, right? Just for the Americans that are on my page, right? Used to have girls that walk with scissors when I was growing up. You understand? And that's like 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. 6 to 9 years old. And you have girls walking around with freaking scissors to do people harm. All because their parents don't teach them how to be a decent freaking human being. That's why I talked about bullying. I talked about bullying within the black community. I talked about it. I talked about racism within the black community. How these kids are propped up by their freaking parents. And it's mostly always freaking single mothers that do this. Prop them up to treat other kids like shit. Right? They prop them up to treat other kids like shit. And we're still not addressing the problem of these type of parenting and these types of children. You understand what I'm saying? We built a system where we can't punish these kids for what they do wrong until they've gone through the ringer of killing other kids. That's when we want to punish them. Right? That's when we want to punish these kids. We don't want to punish them. We don't want to beat them. We don't want to put them in any sort of consequential. You understand? Any sort of, I bit my tongue. Any sort of consequential habitation for the problems that they cause. We don't want to give them any consequences for their actions. We don't want to hold them accountable. And that's the problem with society today. We're not holding people accountable for how they behave. And then what happens is that those kids, they go out, and because they're not being held accountable for how they behave, they go out and they harass and bully and shame and trouble weaker kids. You understand? And I'm not talking about weaker in mind, but I'm talking about weaker in body. These kids know that they're weak in terms of their body. They know they can't fight. Some kids avoid fights. Not everybody is meant to be a fighter. As a matter of fact, you're not meant to be a fighter when you are a child, unless you are taught to be a fighter. You understand? Most kids just want to go out and have fun. Kick a football, climb a tree, play stickball, play dandy shandy, which is a Jamaican, a Jamaican dodgeball game. Dandy shandy. Nobody can tell me nothing. Right? Kids just want to have fun without being harassed to have fun. The first thing I'm teaching my daughter to do is how to defend herself. I don't give a crap. Whichever girl or boy want to put their hands on my child. But if any girl or boy put their hand on my child and severely harm her, and there's no consequence for that child, I will do that consequence for that administration. I will teach them how to do an action of consequence for that child. Because I will directly hurt that child in front of that administration and in front of their parents. And then if their parents stand up, I hurt that parent too. Because your child is not going to come and severely damage my child. Severely deform them. And get to walk away in life scot-free. I don't think so. You understand? Any boy or girl put their freaking hand on my daughter is going to receive tenfold of what they've done to her. And any administration that stand up to protect these children will get punched in the face. We're not addressing the problem of bullies. We have not addressed it in our society. We want to swim around it. We want to do... We don't want to talk about what the real problem is, which is the shitty ass parenting in society today. You understand? We're glorifying the friggin' single motherhood, which creates these types of criminals that come into schools, right? Come into schools and harass, bully, and even steal from kids, rob kids. I'm so thankful that I've never been robbed. Never been robbed in my life. People have made attempt to rob me and have been unsuccessful. But I'm so thankful I've not gone to school and someone has told me to give me your lunch money. People have tried. You understand? But thankfully, I had me and my friends and we fought. We fought. What if this child doesn't have friends to fight with? Right? Come on, America. Come on, world. Come on, society. Address these problems. Don't swim around it. The problem is the kids that get bullied and then turn around because of that, decide to enact revenge and vengeance upon their wrongdoers. And that's what we're not talking about. That's not what we're talking about. Right? We don't talk about the freaking bullies in school that constantly bullying kids. I'm sick and tired of bullies who cause kids to commit suicide. Right? Cause kids to take their own life. I'm sick of tired of these kids that come from freaking broken ass homes that cause other kids, because they come from broken ass homes, they want to break kids. They want to break your kids. Right? They want to break your kids because they're broken. Nothing don't seem right unless they break every freaking thing in their lives. Because they come from a freaking broken ass home. That's not my fault. That's your parents' fault. My kid does not get to pay just because you come from a broken ass home. You don't get to enact your problems from your home onto my child. Your bastard ass life. That's your freaking mother's problem. And if you're living with both parents and it's problems, well, that's your freaking parents' problem again. You don't get to come to school and abuse my child just because your father is an abusive little prick or your mother is a drug addict or a bastard. You don't get to do that. We need to address this problem. We need to address these problems, right? Dive into the mind of these kids that are shooting up schools and find out what happened to them, who troubled them, and go, and then you will have, and as a matter of fact, I think most of you people, most of you psychologists have the answers. You have the freaking answers and you're sitting on it on purpose. Why? Because you don't want to say that the problem is most times bad parenting and the lack of consequences for these bad kids. Anyway, people, that's my rant for today. Take care.